came to my house last weekend. He had a big party. If you're ever in Kansas City around party time, which is Memorial Day and Labor Day, come to my house. You'll meet 200 to 300 of my closest friends at my house. So I'm camping out. Anybody interested in coming to Bonner Springs, Kansas on Memorial Day? You're invited. Bring your tent, though. Bring your tent, because I don't have enough room to sleep for 300 people. I got 7 acres, so you got plenty of camping space. Good. Okay, we'll see ya. Talk to me later. I'll give you the details. And if you want to, I'm not going to talk about this tonight, but I made Playboy magazine. I came back from a trip. A friend of mine sent me an email and says, "Did you realize you're in Playboy magazine?" I said, "No, I have my clothes on." I said, "Yeah, you have your clothes on because there's no pictures of you." Last year, actually a year and a half ago, we did an online survey of 14,560 primarily secularists. Well, all secularists, primarily atheists. 80% of our sample was atheists, and we just asked them about their sex lives. And nobody had ever asked atheists about their sex lives before. So it made national headlines, it made the Daily Mail, it made the Washington Post, New York Times, and Playboy magazine. So you can download the report. It's a 48-page report that'll tell you all sorts of things about the sex lives of secularists. You just go to ipcpress.com. ipcpress.com. And how many of you have seen Dawkins' new documentary, Death, Sex, and the Meaning of Life? All right. Good. Well, only 4 or 5 of you. Get online. It's a great documentary, not least because I'm in it, but that's not the last step. And Dawkins took our sex survey and put it into the document because he really tries to show how religion screws up people's sex lives, which is kind of what we were looking at in our survey. So it's a good documentary. 3 hours long. You can get 3 different episodes on YouTube. It's free. And coming up next week, I'll be on the Dr. Susan Block show. I don't know if you've ever heard of Dr. Susan Block, but she's like the leading sex, I don't know what she's really into sex. In Hollywood, California. She has a whole studio devoted to it, so I'm looking forward to this. She's invited me to stay in her guest room in the studio. And the guest rooms, the name of the guest room is the Bonobo room. Yeah, so we'll talk about bonobos a little bit later in my talk. Okay, enough for the paid political announcements. I have to first of all bless our meeting here. Starts with prayer here. How many of our pastafarians? I'm sure we've got some.
I have been touched by the noodly appendage.
There you go. All right. Bow your heads, those of you who are pastafarians. The rest of you heathens can stay wherever you like. Dear Flying Spaghetti Monster, we thank you for giving us sex and sexuality, whether homo or hetero, bi or trans, and for not making us like those uptight Christians, Muslims, Mormons, and Baptists. Thank you for wonderful masturbatory fantasies and for the pornography upon which they're often based. FSM, we ask that you grant us sex partners, lovers, wives, and husbands that know where our G-spot, the clitoris, and the sweet spot on our penis is. Grant us long, loving foreplay with deep, wet kisses, followed by huge orgasms and loving cuddles after. Grant us the courage and wisdom to communicate openly and honestly with our partners, and give them more pleasure than we receive, for we know it is far better to give than to receive. Your noodliness, we do not need 72 virgins. In fact, we ask that you send no virgins, or we don't want to have to train them. Unless, of course, they're very willing to be trained. We especially plead today that you not send any repressed Christian virgins, male or female, for they will only feel guilty and cause great problems with their abstinence-only training. Your awesomeness. We ask that you give us the wisdom to understand and appreciate our partner's kinks, or lack thereof, whether foot worship or spanking, ropes or talking dirty. Help us to appreciate their full sexuality, and lead us not into temptation, judgment, and scorn for others when their sexual preferences